Hey guys, Tat here. Welcome to my channel. Hope you're all having a wonderful day, evening, morning, nighttime, afternoon time, brunch time, snack time, whatever it happens to be for you. Okay, so what we have here is I'm going to be doing a little tutorial type thing. It's mainly for one person, but hopefully this will be able to help anybody else. I had somebody that I was working on helping in the comment section of one of my videos that's new to modding and is needing some help with some stuff. And you know how it gets in comments and everything else. You know, it's really hard to follow. You get confused and everything. So me personally, I'm a visualization person and a hands-on person. That's how I learn. So it's easier for me to see what's going on and actually do it myself. And when I do it myself by copying somebody else, the doing it myself is what teaches me. That's how I learn. I know other people, people learn different ways, but that's how I do it. So that's what I want to do here. This is mainly for this person, but anybody else that, is new to modding and is needing some help, hopefully this can help them. So to start this off, again, this person was using Vortex, and a lot of people use Vortex. When I first started modding, and I was a complete dingus as well and everything, I just downloaded the manager that was on Nexus, which happened to be Vortex, and that's what I started using as well. This was many years ago. I think Vortex is a bit different now and stuff, but that's how I did it. And I ran into lots and lots of problems during my modding, learning how to mod journey. And most of it was because everything was going into the actual game directory, the game folders. So I'd be installing mods and it'd be putting all those. I think Vortex actually uses a virtual system like Mod Organizer 2 does now. That it does it now too, I think, but I'm not sure. But back then it kind of worked like Nexus Mod Manager, and it put the files directly into your game folder. And of course, as I was changing, my load order around and stuff like that, pieces of this mod would get left behind and pieces of that mod would get, and my whole game would get screwed up. It seemed like every other week I was reinstalling the game so I'd have a fresh install and then reinstalling mods. It was just a nightmare. Then I discovered Mod Organizer 2, and I was just like, I was seeing everybody talk about use Mod Organizer 2. I'd see comments and mod pages and stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give it a try. And in Mod Organizer 2, it does have a bit of a learning curve, it seems, but it took me, maybe an hour or two to learn the basics of Mod Organizer 2, and I have never turned back. It's so much better. And I think the general consensus with, experienced modders and stuff is there is no competition to Mod Organizer 2. Vortex, the old Nexus Mod Manager, whatever it is, it can't hold a candle to Mod Organizer 2. Everybody that's really experienced with modding Skyrim and stuff, you use Mod Organizer 2. They all agree because it is so powerful, and the virtual system that it uses it's a life changer, because you never screw up your game. You could screw up, your profile by installing things wrong and doing all kinds of whatever, but it's all virtual. You could just erase all that. You haven't touched your game folder at all, so your game is still perfectly fine. You don't have to reinstall your game or anything. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to start off how I did it. That's how I'm going to go through this tutorial here, is how I did it when I started. So the first thing that I recommend you do, now I also put into the comments for this person an article I found on Nexus and stuff about how to move your load order from Vortex to Mod Organizer 2. I will leave that link in the description of this video. I've never tried it. I don't know if it works. I don't know anything about it. Me personally, I wouldn't do it. This is what I would do. I would completely erase Vortex. I would just erase everything. And then I would erase the Skyrim game itself. I would completely wipe all of that stuff off my computer. I would not want any files left behind at all. And then I would download Skyrim the game again. I would download that. Once it's downloaded, this is what I did, and this is what I recommend you do. Once it's downloaded, I downloaded it from Steam, of course. Once it's downloaded, go into Steam and verify the integrity of the files. Because for some reason, I found out Skyrim, even if you just downloaded it, and I found this out with other games too through Steam. Once you first download it and stuff like that, there still seems to be some like updated files or something missing. It's almost like it's giving you the original that Steam had, and then like any future updates from well, in this case Bethesda or whatever, it isn't in that original download that you did. So go ahead and verify the integrity of the files. That's going to update anything in the game, any file or whatever that's been updated, bug fixed or whatever from, say, Bethesda. It's going to put everything to the most recent that it is. After you verified the integrity and you have that fresh installed, the integrity is verified, everything is clean, good to go. Go into your Steam folder and get the Skyrim Special Edition thing right here, your Skyrim Special Edition, the install where it's installed at, and make a copy of that. I put everything on a separate hard drive. I have a hard drive dedicated just to Skyrim. So I'd move a copy of it over to that second hard drive if you have one or whatever, and then zip it up. Now, I unzipped it here so you can see this is what you'll have when you first download the game. That's all that's going to be there. These are the core files. This is the base game, everything cleaned or whatever. Not cleaned, but updated, verified and everything. That's from them. And then I take it over here and I zip it up and I just leave it alone. Now I have the core game with the verified integrity and all that stuff, and it's clean. Nothing's been altered on it. And I keep that here. Now this version right here is the version of the game that I use, which is 16353. So as Bethesda updated, I think we're on 16640 or something like that right now. My game is still 16353. And if I always play the game in offline mode, so the game does not update. But if something was to happen and the game did update and half of my mods are now broken and stuff because it's a different version of the game, I have the one right here. I can just go and just reinstall my version that I had. But it's always a good, again, part of this video is going to be good modding practices that I found out through the years, that are good modding practices also. So that's going to be part of the tutorials, is modding practices that you should get into the habit of doing. So keep a base game right here, and that's clean and everything. The next thing you're going to want to do, I'm not going to go over how to do every little thing, or this video is going to be 10 hours long. There's plenty of things that there are video tutorials online, and there's lots of them. I will mention, you need to do this, and then you can go out there and find those video tutorials. But the next thing you're going to want to do is, well, of course, download Mod Organizer 2. And you've already erased Vortex, gotten rid of all of Vortex. Just get rid of that thing. I have a sour taste in my mouth when it comes to Vortex, but I'll try not to put it down too much. But just get rid of that garbage Mod Organizer. That thing caused me so much problems. I have a lot of animosity towards it. So download Mod Organizer 2. Now, when you download Mod Organizer 2, this is right here. All I have in here is Skyrim, and then I put some other things like Loot and Dart and XVA Synth, and then Mod Organizer 2. So you're going to want to install Mod Organizer 2. Just install it, just read the mod description page and install it how you would. Don't install it into your Steam folder. Always install it somewhere else. This is my special edition install for Mod Organizer 2 here. So go ahead and install that. Now, the next thing you're going to do after Mod Organizer is installed, and remember, do not put it into, there's two places you don't want to put it. You don't want to put it into your Skyrim folder. Okay, this is where I had Legendary Edition. I just took it out the other day. I actually have Skyrim on a different one over here. No, that's Legendary. That's where I moved it to. It's right here, Steam. So this is where I have my Skyrim. I redid my whole computer and stuff, and I went through a whole whatever on keeping my original hard drive that had Skyrim stuff installed, and that's why everything's kind of in a different place right now. But you want to keep those all on the same drive. I had installed other games before I got my Skyrim back. That's why it happened. Right here is the legendary. You can see Legendary Edition Mod Organizer 2. That was originally over here, but I lost so much space. I was down to like 5 gigs. So I just moved the Legendary out and put it over here. But yeah, just if you have a second hard drive, don't put Mod Organizer 2 into your Steam at all. Just like this, just put it in, just make a folder and install it into that. Don't put it into your Steam library or anything. And also don't put it on the drive with your operating system. I don't know if that's okay to do or not. I've read and heard different things. It's probably just a good practice. Don't even touch your C drive. Just if you have a separate hard drive, put Mod Organizer 2 on a separate hard drive. Okay, the next step that you're going to want to do is, if you're using Steam, of course, is you have to run Mod Organizer through Steam. And again, I always run it in offline mode because I don't want things updating. So what you're going to want to do is go down to Add Game, and you're gonna come up to add a non-Steam game. Basically, is what you want to choose, and then you're going to go to where you installed Mod Organizer 2 and get the exe, and put your path directory to your exe, and then that'll put it into Mod Organizer. It's something like right here, add a non-Steam game. So you go to that, and then you find your game or Mod Organizer 2 wherever you installed it at, and you click that. Like say if it was Shotcut right there, that's my video editor. You would click that and then add selected program, and that'll put Steam is going to classify Mod Organizer 2 as a non-Steam game basically, but this is how you open Mod Organizer through Steam, because it's got to run through Steam. So once you have that done, you just go ahead and hit play, and that's going to open up Mod Organizer 2 through Steam. Okay, they won't look like mine. I have it skinned different. It'll be white, not black and stuff like that. I like the night mode. In order to change your mode, if you want a different one, there's lots of different ones. That is, where is that? It's right here, your theme. So it's the wrench and the screwdriver. I have it on Night Eyes. So there's lots of different ones that you can choose from down through here. So, but it'll be white and all that kind of stuff. So once you have this thing installed and all that, you're also going to need, there's a couple of things that you do have to install manually into your the game folder. There's some things that have to go into your game folder. Now, one of the things is going to be if you use an ENB and stuff like that. So you're going to you have to put your ENB the binaries and all that stuff directly. You can't install that. Usually you have to read the mod description page. Some ENBs let you run some things through your Mod Organizer, but I do know for a fact that your binaries that you need for ENB have to go into your game folder. So Steam library, Steam apps, common, Skyrim special edition. So you can see this is a little bit longer than the core that I saved. That's because I got like the creation kit in here, this D3 DLL and stuff like that. This is for ENB stuff, your ENB local ini. These are my bat files and stuff like that. So there is some extra stuff, ENB series, ENB cache. But one thing that you have to, like I said, is going to be your ENB stuff. If you run an ENB, has to go into your Skyrim folder. Just follow the whatever ENB, if you're going to use it, just follow the mod page's description and installation guide. Another thing that has to go into here is SKSE. Now, SKSE can get divided up into a couple of things. There is tutorials, lots of them online on YouTube. One of the best tutorials that I could recommend on using this stuff is going to be Gamer Poets. So check out Gamer Poets. He has a lot of good tutorials on Mod Organizer 2, Rybash, all that kind of stuff. But in SKSE, you're going to want to put in, let's see, where is that stuff at? One of the files that's going to go in there is your Steam Loader DLL. Or no, it's right here, the SKSE64 Loader EXE. That's one of them that comes in here. Just follow tutorials on how to install SKSE. So there's going to be a couple of files from when you open up that zip folder for SKSE. You put those into your game folder, and then some of the other ones are the actual scripts. And you can see right up here, SKSE 64 scripts. So just follow Gamer Poet's how to install SKSE with Mod Organizer 2, and it explains where to put, which files to put into your game folder, and which files, which your scripts to put into your scripts in Mod Organizer 2. So once that's done, and you've got you've got SKSE, because you have to run the game through SKSE. So you're going to come over here to configure the executables. That's these gears up at the top. So go ahead and click those gears, and these are all the things that I have loaded up. So right here is the Skyrim SKSE launcher. That's what we just viewed. You can see it's in this the Steam Apps Common Skyrim Special Edition. It's right here. If we just looked at that file, SKSE 64 loader. So go ahead and title it with right here. It's like Skyrim SKSE launcher, and then to your binary, go ahead and hit the browse a file section, and go to where you have Skyrim installed. Click on that exe file, and then you're going to come over here and hit apply, and then hit OK. And what that does is you can see it puts it right here. Here's all the executables that I have right here. So like the creation kit, Nemesis. You're going to want this Skyrim SKSE launcher. This is how you're going to launch the game. You don't launch it any other way. Launch it through here. So whenever you're ready to play, you have this highlighted here, and you'll hit run, and that will run. That'll start Skyrim. We'll get there when we get there. So now that you have the base game installed, and you have SKSE so that you can launch the game, we've installed Mod Organizer through Steam so that it launches through Steam. Now what we're going to do is you'd have to start downloading mods and getting mods installed. Now, what I recommend for a good practice on installing mods is, this is how I do it. I'm actually going through and cleaning all this stuff up. But here's, like I said, here's my core game. But what I have is downloaded mod zips. And then I have this stuff I got to get all this stuff cleaned up. This is not organized very well. How I recommend you do it, I have it backwards here. Like you can see, like, let's say 523.23, that's pretty recent. I have in here armor, blah, 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 this kind of stuff. These are mods that I downloaded on 523. What I would do instead of doing that is, on a separate hard drive or whatever, make a folder for Skyrim, SE mods or something. Just name it whatever you want, or put it like core mods or something. And then I would make a folder here, inside that new folder you just made. I'd call it, say, armor. And then inside the armor folder, I'd start putting things divided by the date that I downloaded it. You don't have to do any of this. This is just good modding practices, because you want to keep backups of everything. So you're going to put all your mods here that you download. Again, like armor, then you might want to make one called weapons. And then inside there, you'll put like today's date, 5/28 or whatever today is. I don't even know the date, 5/28/23. And then inside that, you just make a folder for each one that you do. So like right here, armor. These are 2 armors that I just recently downloaded. So you just name them what you name them. And what I do inside here is the mod right here. Right here, I copy the whole mod description page. So the whole thing, so that if I have to go back and read, how do I install this, etc., etc., the whole description I copy here. And then, of course, all the pictures, I just download all the pictures. That way I basically have each mod that I download, I have the mod description page, the description, and all the pictures. These pictures are really important for like armors and weapons, because as it could be 6-7 months later, it's like, what did that armor look like? You're going to have to get online and go look it up. Or, and if you have, like, say your internet's down or something, you're not going to be able to. But you can just come in here and you can basically view the mod page on your hard drive. It just keep everything backed up and everything. Sometimes I'll put another one here. It'll say like notes. And if there's a mod that's really technical and stuff, and say you're reading through the comment section and somebody tells you, well, you got to do this workaround, that workaround, you got to do this, and this to make it work. Well, I'll just copy that whole thing down here and put it in another text file that I call, let's say, notes, and then I would just copy that all down this in the comment section so that all the information on a mod that I could possibly have is saved onto my physical hard drives. I don't need the internet for any of that stuff. It's all right there and it's all backed up. So as you download mods, again, separate them how you want it, however you visualize things, and you'll be able to find it easier. I got to go through all of these things here and get this all cleaned up because I started doing it this way, and I figured later on down the road it's better just to like have, instead of having it by date here, just have it by category. So armor, weapons, animations, UI stuff, whatever it is, just put everything in there, and then inside those folders put the date that you downloaded it, and then the date, just put each mod into its own folder so you can find everything you've downloaded. So once you start doing that, what we do, this is how I was explaining how you download things, not through the mod organizer. So we're going to download a couple of mods here. One of them is we're going to install these, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So this is Coco Fairy Queen CBBE. So what you're going to do is whichever one you're going to want. I want 3BBA here, or 3BB. I read that 3BA CBBE. So instead of downloading with Manager, always manually download. Okay, make sure you have all requirements. When you download a mod, it's best to do that on this page. Just look at everything that you need, and then like I don't need Touched by Dibella. This is kind of confusing for new modders. You don't need Touched by Dibella if you're using CBBE. Like over here in the notes, the author should have put if you use CB or 3BA, and over here if you use Touched by Dibella. So you know that if you're not using Touched by Dibella, you don't need this mod. If you're using this one, you're going to need it. If you're not using this, you don't need it, and you need this one, whatever body style you have. But they didn't put that in the notes. So always look through this and just know if you have these things, you're going to need it. So basically, come on over here. I use 3BA. You're going to hit manual download. And then you're going to, like I said, separate everything into where you have it. So you made those new folders. So I know it's a new date, but this is the last folder I created. So I'll go into armor here, and this one is called Coco Fairy Queen. So I'll just do this. Coco Fairy Queen. Okay. Now I only need one file in here, so open that up right here so we know we're in it, and just save it into there. And while that's downloading up here, what I do is, again, so that I know what the requirements are, everything I want to save, you want to save everything. So I'm just going to go and copy this whole mod page. Let me get onto, there we go. So I'm just going to copy that. And we know we're saving this into 523 into armor. And it's Coco Fairy Queen. So go ahead and paste that in here, save it, and then make a new folder. Again, if you don't feel like you got to do these things, by all means don't do it. It's a little bit time consuming. That's why I have so many tabs open up here. These are all that I just download mods like crazy, then I'm stuck getting all the things saved. So I should do it like I'm doing now. Whenever I download a mod, I should get everything done at once, but I just power download. So I know it's got 80 pictures. I'm not going to need all 80. So what I usually do is I just save, maybe 10 pictures or something. So make sure you're in Coco Fairy Queen, go into your pics folder, and just save a few of these pictures so that you know what the armor looks like. Because like I said, a few months down the road, you're not going to remember by the name. Oh, I remember what cocoa, unless you're using it all the time. You're going to forget what it looks like. So you're either going to have to go and look it up online, and if you're having an internet outage or something like that, you're kind of stuck. It's just like I said, this is all for good modding practices, and this is a good modding practice. Just keep all your information easily accessible, and you're in good shape. So if this is 10, that's pretty good. You could try to get some with some different color varieties so that if you're looking at this later that there's separate color. Here's a green one, so that as you go through, you're going to open this up. Say you're looking in Mod Organizer 2 and you're looking at armors and you're like, oh, what did Nini Carlston look like? I installed that 7 months ago. I don't remember what that looks like. Well, you can just go into where you have it all downloaded, say this was Nini Carlson, open up your pics, and it's like, oh, I remember what that one looked like, and I want to run that on this playthrough. Say you're looking for a specific type of armor that you want for your roleplay purposes, and it's like, man, I remember I had an armor that looked like this, it would work well, but what was it called? You can just start scouring and looking for it. So once all that's done, and I got, the pictures, all that kind of stuff downloaded, you can just close that out. You're good to go. We'll go ahead, and I believe I already did this mod. Yes. See, and this is another reason why it's good to keep things separated by the date, because Nexus is going to tell you what date you downloaded it on. So you can go look in that folder and see what, like, say you need to know what version of it you have. Like this one doesn't do it because it's, obviously the newest version. But say you downloaded this mod 10 months ago, and they have all their archives hidden, so you can't see what the archive is. But you're wondering what version whatever it is. Now you know what date you downloaded it on. So let's see. We downloaded this. Yes, I downloaded that. Do I have where did I put that? Let's see. Right here, Constellation Magic. We got all that done. So here's the zip. There's all that. So another good thing is to always look in here if you're curious about what's in the thing that you're downloading. If it's got a README that has more directions, you'll know that there's a README in here and stuff like that. So all those are all downloaded now. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how now you install these mods when you download it manually like that, rather than downloading through the mod manager. Now there's different ways to do this. This is just the easiest way that I found. So on your right pane, this is all your plugins. This is all your mods. These are your mods you have installed. These are your plugins. So what you're going to do is you're going to go over here to downloads. And you can see I still have some up right here. Actually, I have a whole bunch. If I show my hidden ones, you can see I have a whole bunch in here. What these usually are, I keep things in here that have faux mods during the installation. Like Northern Roads is going to be one. It should be in here right here. The Northern Roads patch collection. These are going to be mods that I'm going to go through and reinstall quite often, because as I install other mods, I need to rerun this patch collection for Northern Roads and check off what patches I need. Because you can see as it goes right now, I have all of these patches for Northern Roads. But if I went and installed some other ones, I need to reinstall the Northern Roads patch collection, because it's got a faux mod installer, and I can choose which patches I need again and do it. So all of these here, I keep things that I need to periodically reinstall again, but you can just go in here and at the very bottom, hide it. And then that will put it in the hidden thing, so you don't have to clutter this up. I got this in 2 places, obviously. But so what you're going to do is you're on downloads here. This is going to be empty for you. And again, if it's mods you want to keep, like EMB Lite is another one that's got different install options and stuff in the faux mod. I may need to reinstall that quite often to keep up with other mods I install. So I keep all the faux mod stuff that I install often here, and I just hit right here, I hide it, and then yes, I hide it. Oops, I just hit all those. But anyways, so what you got to do is go over here to downloads. Now you go to where you downloaded all your mods and just drag them over. And we downloaded those 2 mods that we're going to install. And you just do both of those. Now both of these are in your downloads folder. So go ahead and query the info. That's going to update its, I guess it's metadata or something. Okay, so once that's been queried, the info queried, you'll see that little icon at the thing here that looks like this one, it went away. So go ahead and double click it, or you could go and right click it and hit install, but just double click it, make sure that, you know, it looks good. You can go to manual and make sure that this thing is green and says it looks valid. This could be your data folder. So go back over here. Constellation Magic, you can change the name of it. That's what's going to be called over here. Like say you want to call it Constellation Magic by, and the mod author is Kitty Tails. Okay, so go ahead and install that. You don't have to change the name, but if you want to have things organized a certain way for you and you want things, you know, say you want all your armor mods to be in brackets 1, so that all armors are in category 1 or category 2, except you could just name it whatever you want. Okay, and then go ahead, once it's installed, just delete this. That's going to keep useless files out of the hard drive. Otherwise, you're going to have that zip folder in your downloads folder, and you're going to have it installed over here, and whatever drive that's on, it's going to start building up with a lot of stuff. You don't need that zip folder because you have it saved right here already. So you don't need to keep it in your downloads. The zip folder's here. It's backed up, it's saved. 10 years down the road, as long as your hard drive hasn't crashed on you or whatever, you still have access to all the mods you've ever downloaded, and it's all categorized. So go ahead and do your next one. Sometimes they'll pop up with, you know, a little full mod like this. So just check the options you want. You want the main. Do you want heal sound or no heal sound? I don't usually run heal sound. It's just another plugin. I have it installed, but I just usually don't run it. So I don't want heal sound on this version. Hit next. Okay, he's just saying he don't, you know, mods listed on other websites, blah, blah, blah. So go ahead and install that now. And then delete the download out of the download folder. Now that you have both of those downloaded, all you do now to activate your mods is just click it. So we just clicked both of those, and it's going to put them at the very bottom of your load order here. So you're good to go on that. Now those are installed. Now you're going to need to install a couple of other things. The main thing that started this whole thing was Nemesis. So again, you're going to have to install Nemesis, which is installed just like we did those other mods right there. Right here is Nemesis and Nemesis PC. So you're going to install Nemesis, and once Nemesis is installed, you're going to do the same thing that we did for your launcher here. So go to your executables. Again, if you hover over, it'll tell you what we're on. This is going to be tools. There's executables. So go ahead and click that. Again, title it what you need to. Right here, I titled it Nemesis. Then you're going to go to where you have it installed, which is going to be in a different place now. It's going to be in your mod organizer. So it's going to be done the same way, but I'll show you where that's at right now. Wherever you have Mod Organizer 2 installed, right here, mine is listed under Mod Organizer 2 SSE. Go ahead and click that. You'll see right here is a thing called Mods. This is all of your mods that you have installed. You can see I got way too many, and it's a headache. But it's all, of course, alphabetical. So you're going to go over here to your Nemesis. Nemesis Ultimate, here's installed right here. You can see after you install it through Mod Organizer 2, it puts the mod here, like we just did Constellation Magic by Kitty Tails. That's what we labeled it. Here it is installed. This is all the files that were in that one right there. So once you install Nemesis, it's, you know where you put it at under MO2 mods is where it's at. So when you come over here to your executables to get Nemesis ready, you're going to, if you're going to do this for the first time, what you need to do is add an executable, add from empty file, or add from empty file. No. Is it add empty? New executable. Okay, so add empty, and then you're going to come over here and you're going to name it Nemesis. I'm going to call it Bubba Gump from Forrest Gump Shrimp. So you're going to go to Bubba Gump, and then you're going to go into where you installed your Mod Organizer 2 stuff. Remember, it's under mods, right here, mods, and then Nemesis. Nemesis Ultimate Behavior, you're going to go to Nemesis Engine, and you see the executable file right there. You're going to open that, and you are good to go. You're just going to hit apply and then OK. I'm not going to do that, of course. And then that's, like I said, it's going to put it in this thing right here. Here's Nemesis right here. Now, if you want to put it up in here, what you're going to do is say you hit Nemesis like this. You're going to go to shortcut, and then you're going to put it on toolbar and menu. You can put it on your desktop or your start menu, but you're going to put it on toolbar and menu, and that will put it up here. So you don't have to open this up every time. I can just click stuff up on here, but I just keep the launcher here. So you've got Nemesis installed. You've got it, the executable ready to run through Mod Organizer 2 here. Now what you're going to do, we're going to start a new game here. So I was getting ready to start a new playthrough anyways. So get all the mods you want installed, etc., etc. Let's see. These things here are new mods. They need to go up in my load order. This is how you change your load order. This is your install order. This is your load order. So I just know this because I've been, using this install for a long time. All of these things have to stay on the bottom of my load order. Northern Roads has to be at the very, very bottom. Khajiit Speak wants to be at the bottom. All my lighting mods, Unique Character, Imperious. I do know from trial and error where certain mods need to be. So they're at the bottom. You just go over here and I hit lock load order. Now when I run loot, which you install loot the same way as you did Nemesis or anything else, just install it and then load the executable. So you go ahead and sort your plugins, apply the load order right there. And now it's done it's done loot. Right here is another one. It's got loot built in. You can see right there, sort the plugins using loot. You can use this one as well. I just find that using the actual loot, not the one that's included with Mod Organizer 2, seems to be a little bit more accurate than this one. But this one is fine, especially if you have a smaller load order. You don't need to install loot. You can just use the loot right here. But now that those are installed, I need to put them back at the bottom of my load order. So get all these highlighted again. There's a lot of things that we're not going to cover, of course, on Mod Organizer 2. A lot of the advanced features and all that kind of stuff. This is for new users and stuff to get going with it. So go ahead and unlock their load order and then grab all of them and just drag them to the very bottom. Now they're again loaded underneath all this stuff in the correct order. One of the things I know was really tricky was getting my lighting mods correctly on what order they had to be. It was a lot of trial and error, but once I got them there, now I just keep them by locking them whenever I sort. So most of the time, you probably don't have to lock anything. Loot is pretty good at sorting your load order. I just noticed when my load order started getting really big, like right here, I got 330 plugins going right now, that it started to get a little bit less accurate. And sometimes it would throw some of my lighting mods up higher and my lighting would be off in game. So I just know from trial and error where I need these mods. But usually loot is pretty dang good at keeping your load order square. So it's good to go. Another thing I do know I need to do is I need to adjust multiple adoptions. Needs to go under my child mod, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so now we got everything sorted. The next thing that I like to do is you need body slide. Probably if you're not interested in body slide and stuff, then you don't need to do it. I like body slide, so I will go ahead and run body slide. So again, I set up body slide the same way that I set up Nemesis, the launcher, everything else. Just go to your executables and you're going to run everything through Mod Organizer 2. So that's got to go over here. Now, this isn't going to be a tutorial on body slide. So this is just how to get your game going. Make sure that that's correct. Coco, yes. Batch build that. So we're going to batch build it. Now, one thing that Mod Organizer 2 does is whenever you do something within like that, whenever you run body slide, when you'll see it again when we run Nemesis, even the creation kit, if you're making mods and you're running it through Mod Organizer 2, everything goes into your overwrite folder, which is right here. You will see this pop up. I need to fix this right here and convert it to Form 44. But you shouldn't have any of these little things. But it's telling me that I have files in my overwrite folder. So anytime you do something, all your stuff goes into your overwrite. You can see here, here's the meshes that body slide just made. So it doesn't affect anything in your actual game folder. So now that we have made our body slide files, go ahead and right click this, create a mod, and we will call this, because she's like a hybrid Kajat, we'll just call it Cat is the name. You can call this whatever you want. Cat body slide meshes. Now these I delete after every single playthrough, and I start a new character, a new playthrough. I just delete all of these body slide generations, and I do the same thing with Nemesis. So go ahead and there's your body slide for that outfit. Go ahead and click it, and that activates it. Now the next thing we do, I hope that Nemesis screws up right here. I used Nemesis from way back in the day on Legendary Edition, and I never had any problems with it. On Special Edition, I keep running into a problem, and there seems to be no fix for it, and I don't think the guy is actually working on Nemesis anymore because it's never getting fixed. But there is a workaround. I hope it happens so that I can show you how to work around this. So the next thing you're going to do after you have all your animations installed and all that kind of stuff is go ahead and run Nemesis. So click on your Nemesis. It's going to give you this every single time. Go ahead and just hit OK. And when you're out of this, you're going to update the engine. So update your engine. This usually takes about a minute, is usually what it takes for Nemesis to do this. Now, Nemesis does screw up here in Special Edition. It never happened to me in Legendary Edition where it does this. And this is why I do this in 2 separate steps. Normally, you wouldn't do this in 2 separate steps. You would just do it all in 1 step. But because Nemesis has, I'll explain it when we get there, where Nemesis seems to get hung up sometimes and how to fix it. But this is why I learned through trial and error here. This is the fix that works for me. I figured out how to fix it, but I got to do this in 2 steps. So you're going to want to do this in 2 steps. So let the engine update. This step never seems to break on Nemesis. So let this get done. And normally what you would do in Nemesis is after it's done generating the engine update, you go through and you hit all your, I guess these are patches and stuff. You go through and hit all those, then you launch the behavior engine. You're not going to do that on this, because the next step is where Nemesis sometimes breaks. So once it says it's complete, go ahead and close this. And again, you can see it went up to 2. It now made the engine update into your overwrite folder. Remember, everything goes into your update or overwrite folder. So you're going to go ahead and right click that and hit create mod. And then we'll call this, you see we called her Cat. We'll call this Cat Nemesis patch. Okay. Go ahead and hit OK. And once it creates this mod, go ahead and check it to activate it. Now, these two, like I said, I delete after every single playthrough because I change things so much from playthrough to playthrough. That's why I'm glad I was getting ready to start a new playthrough so that I could show the steps that I do whenever I get ready to do this. So I delete the old ones here. I like generating new stuff so that there's no issues with it. So once these are both done, this is where Nemesis sometimes gets broken. So you'll go back into here, and then once it's done loading, that blue circle goes away. Go ahead and check all the patches you need. So I need AMCO, the attack, modern combat, whatever, Distar experience. I'm running that. I'm running precision, Elden counter, not the vanilla payload, EVG, hot key skills. I'm running that. Animated jump behavior overhaul, Skyrim paraglider, poise. This is going to be different for everybody. It just matters what you're running, and you'll know. Just always read completely the mod page's description to know what, if you need to do certain things, and it'll tell you if you need to generate Nemesis and stuff like that. So I'm running crouch sliding, true directional movement, and TK dodge RE. So that's all of them. So now what you do is you launch Nemesis behavior. Please break so I can show how to fix this. Watch, it's not going to break on us here. So usually when it hits about 50%, all my animations will load up here, and it just broke. Good. So it just broke. You can see Nemesis decided to have a brain aneurysm and act like a retard. It never did that in Legendary Edition ever. But that's why I break this down into two sections, because this original one right here, the engine update, hasn't been touched yet. Because remember, everything goes into overwrite. So go ahead. This sometimes this will go away. Sometimes it gets stuck. So go ahead and unlock that. It's generated some files up. Some of them it's not. All of these are garbage now. Don't even use them. The good ones are already in here. So go ahead and hit your overwrite, right click, and clear your overwrite. Erase everything out of there. Sometimes it won't let you erase. It says that things are still active, that, Windows has its brain aneurysm, says, this file is open in this program and it can't delete it. I have not found any way to stop that. The only way that I can figure that out is to restart the computer. Then you can erase, but always erase these out of here. The restart the computer one doesn't happen very often. Usually it just lets you erase those things, but sometimes Nemesis stays running and having its brain aneurysm, and you can't erase these files that got generated because Windows thinks they're still being used by something. So just restart your computer. So that's good that it did that. So now we erase those broken files that it made. These are still in good shape. Those were broken. There's nothing in there anymore. We erased them. What you're going to do to fix this is you're going to go over here where you install your Mod Organizer 2 and your mods. Go into here, go into mods, and you're going to look for Nemesis. Let's see, Nemesis. Unlimited Behavior Engine. Go into Nemesis Engine, and this right here, your Nemesis ini file. You're going to open this up in a text editor. And it says right here, maximum animation. I think you would probably have like 50,000 or 60,000 or something. I don't remember what the default is for max animation, but just increase it. So if the default was, say, 30,000, I don't remember, put that to 35,000. Okay. Mine is, you can see I've increased this many times because as I add more animations, it wants to act like a retard. I think I'm running somewhere around 8,000 animations right now. 75,000 should be plenty for your max animation, but you can see it's acting like an idiot. It's being a dingus. So I'm going to go ahead and really bump this up to make sure we get it. I'm going to put that at 99,000. Again, if the default when you come in here is 30,000, I was always going in increments of 5,000. So I would have put that to 35,000 and see if it fixed it. If it didn't fix it, put it to 40,000. If it didn't fix it, put it to 45,000. So I was at 75,000. It broke. So I just went ahead and put that at 99. So go ahead and save that. Make sure you save, or it's not going to apply. So just, like I said, just save that. Go ahead and back out of this. Now go back into Nemesis. Again, your engine update is still right here. That's why we separated it into two different processes. Everything you checked before is still checked. Go ahead and launch Nemesis again and see if it works. Which it should, I would wager. If not, you just go in there and increase that number again. And it worked just fine that time. It decided, hey, I'm not going to be an idiot this time. So good old Nemesis. Again, I haven't seen any update to Nemesis in a very long time. I keep an eye on it on GitHub. It seems to me like the person that made Nemesis is not active or something anymore. Maybe they are. I don't follow it that closely, but it can get a bit buggy. The Legendary Edition one, absolutely flawless, perfect. But when I moved over to Special Edition and stuff, it just seems to be real buggy. And I ran into that bug where Nemesis would have an aneurysm, and this is the only thing I found that fixed it. But you can see now it generated 8443 animations, and it took 36 seconds. Now what you do is you close this out. Again, it put all of that stuff into your overwrite folder. So what you're going to do, oops, wrong button, is go ahead and highlight all of these things and move it where you put your engine patch stuff. Just, drag and drop it into here. Now, all of that stuff, you can double click that. Here's the engine, the first step we did. Here's all your meshes that it generated for your animations and stuff. Here's the scripts that it needed. And here, this is a dummy Finis ESP. This is a blank. There's nothing in it. It's just a dummy thing. Go ahead and close that out. When this is checked, you're going to see it pops up down here. Go ahead and click it. What this does is when you're in your MCM menu at the very, very bottom is the XP MSE or something like that. It's your skeleton. And it's where you can place different things on the like your sword on your back, or maybe you want the bow in a different position, like turned bow or reverse bow. Wherever you put your weapons on your character, that skeleton, that's usually would have been done through Finis. Well, now you don't have Finis, you're running Nemesis. So that right here, this dummy ESP puts that back into your MCM so that you can go into there and adjust your the position of your weapons on you. So this is blank. There's nothing in this ESP. It's just needed for the XP MSE skeleton thing to load up. So now that that's done, I just leave that at the bottom. I've never had a problem with it down there. Since this is always the last step that I do, I always do loot first. I keep the stuff that I know needs to be at the bottom. Normally you probably don't need to set any kind of rules here. Loot's pretty good at adjusting. If you don't want to actually run the loot, if you have a fairly small load order, just use the loot that's in here. It's usually totally fine. And then you generate up your body slide meshes if you want. Take them out of overwrite, create a new mod, generate your Nemesis up, take it out of overwrite, the 2 steps, put them in there. And then now you are good to go. So the next thing I want to go over here is the profile system. So up here it says profile right here. I made a profile here, very temporary, so that I know in my head I need to delete this thing. So you have all these profiles that you can create. Okay. Right now I'm on temp, very temp. So basically, let's say you had 100 mods installed, and I want to go and play Rigmore. In fact, I have some Rigmore profiles. Rigmore's profile. And I know that Rigmore, it kind of wants to play somewhat on its own. If you have a whole bunch of mods with Rigmore, there's going to be a lot of conflicts and it's not going to want to work right. So I do know from personal experience, because I love that mod, that when I'm playing Rigmore, I got to take a lot of stuff off of my load order. I need to take off probably northern roads, because a lot of stuff that's added by Rigmore is going to conflict, and you're going to have textures that are all goofy. You're going to have trees poking up through weird areas in the camps, because it puts in like war camps. So you're going to have trees from like maybe your tree mod, whatever it is. I like to keep my Rigmore profile fairly basic, almost vanilla. I run like lighting mods and armor mods, but a lot of my like crazy modding stuff, I keep them out. I keep my Rigmore. So I can just come over here and I activate all the mods that I want for Rigmore. Well, first you're gonna make a profile. So let's just say this is my default profile right here. What you would do is go over to your profiles, hit configure profile, and let's just say this one. I'm gonna make a very temp one, and I'm gonna make a copy of that one. Say that's my default profile. So I'm gonna make a copy of it, and let's just call this one very temp 2, because that way I know I need to delete this. So I hit very temp 2, go ahead and hit that. You're going to use profile specific save games. That's important. And then use a profile specific game ini files. So once you have that, just go ahead and hit close. Don't hit select, just hit close. Now this is my default profile. Now I can go over here to very temp 2. That's a copy of this one, but I can start changing different mods that are active. So I can activate Rigmore. I can, deactivate some of my tree mods. I can deactivate Northern Roads. Everything is checked as activated. So I can deactivate certain things and activate certain other ones. Maybe you want a profile that's pure mage. So you have like all kinds of crazy magic packs and all kinds of stuff that's geared toward mages. And then you don't want all that stuff on your warrior playthroughs. So you might have a warrior playthrough that has like a whole bunch of two-handed, one-handed weapons, a lot of different attack animations for like swords and everything. But you don't necessarily need those on your mage profile. So you just separate everything into profiles. Whatever is activated, you just activate in that profile. Let's just say here, this is my temporary one. I don't want that, but I want, this. I want this, all that kind of stuff. Now I have my Rigmore profile ready. So I can just, I play the game. Always generate these two things last, right before starting your game. And don't use them between profiles. Do not use those like on a different profile. Just always, before you start your game, generate these two things up, your meshes and all that kind of stuff. So now I have all that. If I wanted to go back to my original default, you can see I deactivated all these things. I come over here to the very temp one. Boom, all of these are activated again, and the other ones are deactivated. So between different profiles, you can have different mods installed or uninstalled. But just always, for each time you're going to load up a new profile and start a new game, regenerate these two things. Delete the old ones. Always delete these things, okay? On the comment section, I was talking about, people talking about deleting your Nemesis cache. I don't know where that's at in Vortex, but that's right here now. This is your cache. This is all your meshes and all that kind of stuff. So if you're getting T-pose issues, and a lot of times if I was to go and say add some animation packs in here and then rerun Nemesis and just throw them into here, that you're still going to run into T-pose issues because, you've taken some animations off, put other ones on. It's got things generated in here that are no longer activated. So you always clear this out and you won't run into T-pose. So when you're done activating mods, deactivating mods, you have your whole game planned out for you. Everything you're going to use in that game, all your mods are good to go. Generate your body slide meshes and generate this. When you're done with that profile, just delete these two things right here. Get your new one ready to go and redo these two things again, Nemesis and body slide. Okay, I hope that made sense. Next things we need to work on here is, again, this is your left pane. In Mod Organizer 2, this is called your install order. This over here is your plugins, and this is your load order. This is your install order. And on Mod Organizer 2, higher priority is lower down. So all of these things, the lower it gets, it's going to load after the other stuff. So it's going to have higher priority. So let's say right here is an armor. Okay. Here's the original, this Ellie Sherwood Huntress. You got meshes, textures, and the ESP file. Now I downloaded for this mod the optimized and upscaled texture mod that, makes the textures, I think 4K and all that kind of stuff. So I loaded that I installed it after I installed this one. And you can see here, you got a green plus and a red minus. You can see it says that one has overwritten loose files and that one overwrites loose files. So This one, if I click on it, you can see that it highlighted this one in green. Now I know what this mod is overriding. If I click that one, this one's in red, I can scroll through and I can see, oh, this mod is overriding that one. That does not mean that the whole mod is overriding it, because you can see in here in the file tree, it's the main mod has a calling, that's your body slide. It's got meshes, textures. It's got the ESP. This meta ini, this gets created by Mod Organizer 2 any single time you install something. So now if I go over to this thing, you can see that this only has textures. So the other mod had the ESP, it had meshes, it had everything. So when you see something is overriding another, that does not necessarily mean that the whole mod is overriding it. Sometimes you'll see that. I will find one here. It will be a little lightning bolt and it'll say redundant right here. So parkour in Skyrim. It's got a lightning bolt and it says that it's redundant. In other words, something else is putting the exact same stuff here and overriding it, and this is redundant. Now, I should be able to just deactivate this and it wouldn't cause any problems because it's telling me that it's redundant. I've gotten in the habit of just leaving it activated because if it is 100% redundant, then having it activated is not going to affect anything. But I did notice on my, I don't know if it was Nordic UI. No. It must have been Dear Diary. No. In some of my, my UI stuff, it said that something was redundant. This right here, I needed for, I think OSTEM needed this. And it said that it was redundant because something else is providing the files that are in here on my interface. So there's I think Dear Diary puts in a file that's called Quest Journal SWF in the interface. I think Dear Diary, or maybe it's Nordic UI, has a file that's called the exact same thing. And that is why Flashing Save Game Fixes thinks it's redundant, because I have my UI stuff lower, but it's not the exact same file. If I open that file up, I would probably see that there's some differences in it. All that Mod Organizer knows is that there's two things with the same, that's called the same thing, but the internal, the actual coding inside of it is actually going to be a little bit different because they're from two different mods. So in theory, you should be able to just deactivate this because it's redundant. But the only reason why it's calling it redundant is because another mod has a file in interface that's called questjournal.swf. But that doesn't mean that the actual file has the same code in it. So I just leave them active. It doesn't hurt anything. So I just leave redundance active. But anyways, back to this. So if you see something being overridden by another and you want to know what it is, you can come over here. I just clicked on Sherwood 3VA. You come over here to conflicts. And this is going to show me everything that is where all the conflicts are at. So I know that the conflicts are textures that's coming from the conflict is Sherwood Huntress right glove DDS. And what's being overwritten is the providing mod is the mod that's underneath it right here. Ellie Sherwood Huntress optimized and upscaled textures. So you can see that this mod is now overriding, this file is overriding that file. So optimized and upscaled textures 2K is the mod is providing a file that is overriding the Huntress right glove DDS, which we know that's supposed to do it because these are upscaled textures. But that's just how you see mod conflicts. The green is overriding the red. That's how it's supposed to work. You always want to put what you want to win the conflict lower so that it has higher priority. So you wouldn't want to do this because now this is redundant because now the originals are overriding this, but you want the improved textures to actually be lower so that it overrides the original. Another thing here, let's see. That's not going to be a good one. That's not a good one. Not a good one. Weighted water, no. We'll find something here. Okay. Here's another one. I see it's got, Detry plugin updates. I needed it for bow rapid combo. It's like, what the heck is this thing overwrite? There's nothing above it. If you look over here, green and green. So just scroll up. Okay, it's overriding something in the original Detry's key utilities. And then it's also overriding something in Elden Counter 1.6, here. And if I wanted to see what exactly it's overriding, then I would just double click it, go to conflicts, and there's two files. There's one file in Detry's key utilities. It's the DLL, and that this mod is providing, the override. It's overwritten. This file is overwritten. Overwritten mod is the key utilities and Elden Counter, which we just scrolled up and looked. So these two are being overwritten by this mod right here, Bow Rapid Combo version 3. And this file is overriding that a file in that mod. That one's overriding a file in that mod. Now, that says overwritten mods. If we go back to how we did the other one, back to this MCO we saw there, this one is now gone from up here to down here because we opened this mod. Now the providing mod is the Detry's plugin update, which we were just at. It's overriding the Elden Counter DLL in this mod. So that's how that works. There's lots of little things here. You always want to pay attention to these red. Obviously, it's like trying to get your attention. This usually tells you that you're not running the newest version, but that's not necessarily true. This says that the installed version is 110 and the newest version is 100. Obviously, that's not true. 110 is a higher number than 100. So all that is indicating that the mod author did not do the version numbering correctly. So that's just kind of making Mod Organizer be confused, basically, thinking that you're not running the newest version. If you see something like this, just go to the mod page and just make sure you have the newest version installed. A lot of times, though, you don't want the newest version of a mod. You may want an older version, especially things on like Serana replacers, like Serana-holic. It has like 10 different versions, and you may want an older version because you like the way that it looks. So don't freak out if you see that symbol. Just hover over it. It'll tell you why it's giving you an alert. And usually it's just wrong versioning numbers. I guarantee if I went to this mod on Nexus, I have the newest one. The mod author just didn't put they didn't version correctly. They didn't put the correct progression and on how to put the version numbers. Another thing here, we were talking about your animations and how to get certain animations to work out of a mod. Like if you downloaded like a where do I have, let's see here. Where is reverse? Let's just say reverse dagger moveset. Let's say I was using this one. We got a file tree here. In your meshes, actors, character, animations, dynamic animation replacer. Okay, now let's just say in this mod, I do not want the power tax. Let's say that there was another animation set that had really, really cool power attacks, and I wanted to use those power attacks. But I really love the normal attacks from Reverse Dagger moveset. So how do you fix that? What do you do about that? Well, you could go into where you actually have this installed, which would have been in your mods folder in MO2. This is Reverse Dagger moveset for MCO. You could go in here, and you could go to where you actually have the animations, and you could just delete them. But now, if you want them in the future, you're going to have to reinstall the mod. You don't know if you deleted something or not. You could totally bork yourself on that one. So don't do that. That's not a good idea, but you could do it. So the easier way to do it is, again, just do everything through Mod Organizer. So we love the regular attacks on this one, but Mod B, we love the power attacks. So we want the power attacks from Mod B, but Reverse Daggers Mod A, we want the regular one. So just go into here, right click it, and hide it. Right click those, hide it. Right click those, hide it. And if we scoot that over now, you will notice that these are now saying MO hidden. MO hidden. Now these power attacks are hidden in Mod Organizer. So when Mod Organizer loads up its virtual system, because again, nothing gets installed into your actual game folder. It's all virtual. That's why it's so nice that you can't bork up your game, really. You know, if something's really messed up with your install and you've been, doing something and it's all messed up, you don't have to try to figure out what files to erase from the actual game directory. You just erase the mod or whatever it is, and nothing has touched your actual game directory. So go ahead and just hide all those. You'd hide that, and you'd hide that power attack. Or if you only wanted, say, the forward power attack. Now, how you find those out, I don't really know. Like which one of these is forward, which one of these is backwards, I don't know. That would take some trial and error to hide certain ones and then see which ones you have left, because they're all going to have the same name. Not all animations, but in this mod, they're named MCO Power Attack 3 HKX. So you would hide those, and then in Mod B, you would hide the normal attacks but have the power attacks active. Now you have normal attacks from Mod A, Reverse Daggers, and you have power attacks from Mod B, whatever that would happen to be. So that's how you hide and unhide what you want when it comes to animations. There may be an easier way. I don't really know about it. That's how I do it. Like I said, I just do things through Mod Organizer. A lot of ways that I do it, because I'm quite lazy, is I just say have all my animations, and I just I don't know where I would have a good chunk of animations here. I have no idea. It's been so long since I've gone through it, because I have a good place would be walking. Like walking, running. Okay, that's going to be 219. Okay. So let's see if we can find those. 219. That's not 219. That was wrong. Oh, that's female run, walk. That is 599. I'm trying to find where I have those grouped at. Now, there is a way to group these easier, but I have so many mods, it's going to take me a long time. If I could show you my legendary, which I can't right now, I separated all those. So like I put like dividers under each section, and I named one section like armors, and I had all my armors on one. And then I put another divider. So like between these two would be a divider, and it was called, say, weapons. And then I put all my weapons underneath that. I need to go through and clean this up. But I believe that's right clicking that. I don't remember exactly how I did it. I'd have to watch another yeah, I don't want to try to say how to do that, because I haven't done it in so long. I'd need to find a tutorial again on how to set up dividers in this. But where was that? 599, I think is what it was. Right here. Here's some female walking, flying sprint, but I don't see any of them actually overriding. But anyways, what I would do, I can't find where I have them at right now. But I had like different running, walking, and stuff animations. So I would just put whichever, I would play around. Like, say I had 3 different animation mods that had walking, idles, and running. And I had 3 different ones. I would just put them in different orders in here. I would just move them around, which you do by just dragging them around is how you change your install order. I would just change them around until I got the combination that looked really nice in game, and I would just leave it at that. That's just a lazy way to do it. But you may run into a case where you really want a specific idle from one animation, a specific walking from another, and a specific running from, and just moving their load order around. You couldn't get the combination you wanted. Well, then what you would do is you'd open them up and you would actually hide ones that you don't want. You'd hide those from each of the 3 mods. Another thing that was the original way to do this was through PCEA, so that it's only player exclusive. I only have 1 animation in my PCEA, so I don't do that anymore, and that's the Stronger Swimming. So the mod Stronger Swimming, I put those animations in my PCEA so that only my character does Stronger Swimming, but you can see that's the only one I have. These are the default from PCEA. Yeah, I don't even know what those are. Obviously they get overridden though, because they're not even being used. I could just hide that whole folder. So yeah, I do know that I only have that in PCEA. That was the old school way that I knew how to do it back in the day. But now, with MO2 and stuff, you can go into each mod and hide certain files and, have other ones shown so that those files load up. What other things would be good to know for new users? Again, if you're looking through here, you got conflicts, you got flags. So you can see right here, this looks like a little piece of paper. That means that in this mod, there is a hidden file. How I showed you how to hide. So what I do here is, no, not that one. It's MCM Recorder. Where did I put that? I don't remember what I called it. Maybe it is this one. Yeah, MCM Recorder right here. So all my MCM Recorder stuff is here. Well, obviously these are all MCM saves. So MCM from Better Third Person, True HUD. So as you save, different mods are going to save different ways. Some of them use FISS, FISSES or something like that. Some of them use, what is the other way to save? It uses a JSlot or something like that. I don't know. Some of them, like right here, Sunhelm, they just all save in different ways. So say I was in game and I went through the Sunhelm MCM and I got it all set up how I wanted. And with Sunhelm, it has a way to save that profile. So I went into, its MCM and I hit save. Anytime you do that in game, it's going to put that save into your overwrite folder. So when you're in game and you're in an MCM menu and if not all mods have the ability to save that, but if it has the ability to save, your settings basically, it's going to put that right here in your overwrite and it'll be in here. Like I said, everything goes into your overwrite, which is really good because that keeps it clean for you. You don't have to try to guess where is this putting these files at. Everything goes into overwrite. So when that happens, what I did for my MCMs, right here, my MCM Recorder saves. So first we'll go through these MCM saves. So again, Sunhelm, say we just did that. We saved our configuration profile in Sunhelm and it made a JSON file. So inside of mod organizer or inside the overwrite down here, this whole right here, this whole thing that said Sunhelm would have been in there. So what you do is, you come up to this little wrench and thing right here, and you want to create an empty mod. So hit create an empty mod, and I'm going to call this MCM settings saves or something. Name it whatever you want. And then you hit OK. Now that's going to put this at the very, very bottom. It's going to give you this because there's nothing in it. No valid game data. We know that. There's nothing in it. It's just it's an empty, nothing in here. Except for, again, Mod Organizer 2 always creates this meta ini for every mod that you have. Okay, so we created that now. Now, like I said, everything gets put into your overwrite folder. So if you were in game, that's the overwrite folder. But if you were in game and you saved your you were in Sunhelm, you got your whole profile set the way you want, your cold settings, your hunger settings, your thirsty settings, you got everything set up, and you hit save. Whenever you hit save, it puts that save into your overwrite. So when you come back out here and you double click your overwrite, this right here, Sunhelm, is going to be an overwrite. You're just going to drag it and drop it into that file that you just made. It's not going to let me because these are two, it's not coming out of your overwrite. But if this was in the overwrite folder, it would let you drag that and drop it. So it's not going to let me drag and drop from mod to mod. So if this was the overwrite box, Sunhelm would be in there. If Sunhelm is what you saved, just drag it and drop it into the one you just made. And then always make sure that it's active because, you know, when you load up a new game, you need to load each, you know, thing from each mod. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Oops, what did I hit? Dang it, hit the wrong thing. Remove, back up. Yes. And delete this. Remove the mod. Okay. Now, I called mine my MCM saves. So all the different mods that have things to save within it, I created this one right here. And I just, every single time I do that, I drag it out and drop it into there. There is going to be some things. The reason why I got in here, here's all my smooth cam presets. Here's FIS. MCM recorder, quick light, True HUD ini. I needed, say, you know, this is what was hidden. That's why it's giving me a hidden thing. I did know from trial and error that I had to hide True HUD's ini. This ini file is going to be its settings. And there was a different mod that got added on top of True HUD that I needed the settings from that one. So I just went in here and hid this file. So now Mod Organizer 2 can't see this. So when it loads the game up and it loads True HUD, it's not going to load True HUD settings because those are going to be in the ini file. Because I knew that when I was having a conflict and it wasn't working, that would have been True HUD is being overwritten by Nordic-ish, a True HUD preset. So this right here, a True HUD preset, I needed, right here is True HUD ini. This is the one that I wanted loaded up, this True HUD ini. So Nordic-ish came with a True HUD ini that, because Nordic-ish is a True HUD preset that uses True HUD, I didn't want True HUD's ini file. I wanted this one. So what I did was I just, you know, I went into, it's already overwriting here. And it's not. Okay. Oh, it's because I have it hidden. But because, you know, I did all my settings in MCM in game on TrueHUD, that ini file got created, so I needed to hide it because I wanted this one to work. So that's what these little things are here. Contains a hidden file. So if you're ever wondering what's going on, why is something not looking, go and make sure you didn't hide something. These right here, you should get in the habit of doing it. You can see I have been, but I've gotten lazy at sometimes. We just downloaded this mod. This is to endorse it right here. Just go ahead and right click that and endorse it. Or you could hit don't endorse if you don't like the mod, but just go ahead and endorse it. And you can endorse right here through Mod Organizer too. You don't need to go into Nexus to endorse. But yeah, it's always a good idea to endorse people's mods. It really helps them. So that's what all these little heart with a question mark, that's just endorse. If you're ever curious about what things are, just hover over it and it'll tell you. Installed version 1 alpha, newest version is 1.0.0. And this one's telling me the same thing. The installed version is 1.0.0, newest version 1.2.0. But we just downloaded that, so obviously the mod author, or maybe they just uploaded a new version like during this tutorial. I don't know. But all the information you need is just, you can gather it all just by hovering over things. Again, this tattoo pack, you can tell it's under the categories of body, face, and hair. This is a magic, volcano magic pack, immersion, companions, patches, NPCs, armor, overhauls, player homes, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's a couple more things I wanted to go over before we finish this off. I hope this is good enough to help get going with Mod Organizer 2. I know this is really long. I like to be completely thorough because I know when I'm trying to follow someone's tutorial, if I didn't pick something up or if I have a question or whatever, I know how much it sucks to ask a question in comments and that person may be asleep, they may be at work, they may be whatever. So you're not getting an answer for sometimes several hours. It's like, oh, I really got to get past this part. But I don't want to try to do that as much as I can to other people. So I'm trying to be as thorough as possible so that you don't really have to rely on me to answer a question later on if I'm not even at my computer. And then you're stuck now because you can't progress. I want to try to get everything that I possibly can so that you can keep going without relying on me in case I'm not available, if that makes any sense. What else do we have going here? Another thing is, let's see, the tools. We configure settings and we're going to, there's our profiles. We went over configuring the executables. This one right here, if you hit tool, go down to any editor. Here are your Skyrim inis and your Skyrim prefs inis. You don't ever need to touch your ini files that are default for the game. Don't ever touch, again, besides E and B stuff and SKSE, you really shouldn't be putting anything in your Skyrim folder or touching any of those files. Now, there are some other things, and the mod page will tell you if something absolutely has to go into the game folders. But like the creation kit needs to go into the game folder as well. But 99.99999% of everything is all virtual. It does not touch your game folder. Don't put anything in your game folder. Put everything installed through Mod Organizer 2 so it's all virtual. And the same thing goes to this. A lot of times, especially like for grass mods, weather mods, and things like that, the mod page will tell you you have to, add this line to your Skyrim ini or add that line to your Skyrim prefs ini or whatever. Do not touch your default ini files. Just leave them alone. Only adjust these that are in Mod Organizer. Because remember, when we created a profile, we use profile-specific save games and use profile-specific game ini files. So you could have different ini settings for different profiles. You may have one that, like, say you're making YouTube content and you have a whole bunch of ini settings to make it a little bit brighter because YouTube tends to darken stuff up. You have a whole bunch of different ini settings that's for your YouTube content, and you have a profile that has those specific innies for that specific thing. And then maybe you have your regular gameplay profile that has different settings. So each profile has its own innie settings. So you can come into here and you can change any of your settings that you need to change, or you can add anything into there that the mod page tells you to add. And then you would just hit save. And that right there, this profile has its own set of ini files. And those are going to be, where would those be? They would probably be under profiles, right? So right here, this is my MO2. This is where I installed Mod Organizer 2. Again, these are your mods. When you install them, how I showed in the beginning, there's all your mods. So here's your actual overwrite folder. This right here, down here, your overwrite that we've been working with. Anytime something happens with the game, like you create body slide meshes, you make a save on an MCM setting, whatever it is, if you make a mod and you save it in Creation Kit, as long as you're running it, as long as you run everything through Mod Organizer 2, everything gets dumped into the overwrite folder so that you know where everything is at. You don't have to guess. You don't have to look up on Google, where is this mod putting these ini files or this thing? You don't have to guess. Everything gets put into your overwrite, and then you put them where they need to go. So there's the actual overwrite folder. Here's the one in Mod Organizer 2. But anyways, if we go to profiles, right, here's profiles. Here's all my different profiles. So this is the one, we need to erase that one, but here's the one we're working on. Here's those 3 ini files that we just looked at. Here's your ini, custom ini, and prefs ini. That is these right here on your ini editor, ini, prefs ini, and custom ini. So while I'm under this profile, very temp, any changes that I make to the ini files, they are only going, because when we created, again, I know this is redundant, I'm going back and forth, but when we created, it's using profile specific. So this profile has its own specific game inis. So when we make some changes in here, up here, when we open that up, that's going to change these 3. If I went into very temp 2, these 3 are not going to get changed, because it's using profile specific ini files. So that's how you do it. Now, when we made this one right here, these are going to be the exact same ini files as these ini files. Dang it. Now, anybody guess why these 3, these were the original, this was the original profile we started with. Does anybody guess why that's got ini files and then we just made this one? But why these 3 are the exact same as the other profile? The reason for that is because when we did our profile and we were on very temp, remember we hit copy? That copied those ini files. Even though it's using its own specific game ini files, it copied them. So if you made a whole bunch of changes to your ini file on your default profile, and you don't need to make any more changes to those ini files, everything's working fine, but you create a new profile and it doesn't need any changes to the inis are going to be the same. The only time they're going to change now is if I'm in the new profile here and I loaded it up and I made some changes. So now if I load up this one that we just made and I made, an edit here, let's just say I erased that out of there and then I saved it. Now that thing is now saved on this profile. So in very temp 2, that ini file now is different than this ini file. They were the same to start with, but they are different now because I changed something in very temp 2. So any changes you make after you copy is going to only affect that one. As long as you had it checked, edit or use profile specific ini files. So now those are that. In fact, the saves are going to be the same. The saves, those saves are from the other profile. It copied the saves over as well. So as we're coming to a conclusion here, we're already, we created our body slide meshes. We created the Nemesis patch. We did our, dang it, wrong one. We did our loot, so we sorted all that stuff. Our load order is good. We are ready to start. This is how I do it. Again, I'm just sharing, game practices that I do that I think are helpful. So what I do is before I start the new game is I go into my actual, the profile that I'm using for that playthrough, and I always delete all the saves out of it. It's just a good practice to just always not have, a whole bunch of saves just spread out all over the place. And again, you don't have to go into, I don't even know where, because I've been using Mod Organizer for so long. I don't even know where it actually, where Skyrim normally puts your save games. It's under Documents. My Games, Skyrim Special Edition. Yeah, okay, so it's putting some saves, obviously not here for me, but or saves right here, Steam Auto Cloud. Okay, but normally I guess your saves would probably be here, is what I'm guessing. So any saves that you're ever making through your game are all going to go into this thing. I'm guessing, but again, because we're using Mod Organizer 2 and everything is profile specific and everything, your saves now are located under profile, in that profile, and in saves. So I always erase all those saves. Now, let's say you were playing a different character. Say you're playing let's just say a sneak archer before this, right? And you don't really want to give up on that game yet, but you wanted to play a mage for a while. So you have a profile for your archer and you have a profile for your mage. And you were playing that archer, but you're going to play a mage for a while. You deleted all these out of your mage profile. That's not going to affect your saves at all on the other profile for your archer at all. Each profile has its own saves. Each profile has its own innies. Each profile has everything. And you can go through here and, of course, just remove that. I don't need that one anymore. I can remove that profile. So it's going to remove any profile-specific save games, if any. Yes, that's fine. So let's go ahead and get ready. So now I've gone over profiles. You got a pretty good guess on that. So I think we are ready to go. You've got mods installed. You've got your install order done. You've got your load order separated through loot. You've got your executables all done. You generated body slide meshes. You generated your nemesis, all that kind of stuff. It's all good to go. So now what you do is you just, of course, you launch it through Mod Organizer 2. So we've set up our executable to launch through the SKSE launcher. Let's go ahead and just launch that. And we're good to go in game. Now, my game takes a minute to load up whenever I'm running OBS. So whenever I'm recording. So it's going to take, it's going to take a second here for the game to load up. That's just the nature of the beast whenever you're running, at least for me. And I got a pretty powerful system, but when I'm using OBS and I'm recording, it takes my game a little bit to load up, but we'll get it to load up here. Yeah, we're good to go here. We'll go over a couple things with the MCMs just so that I could help you visualize what I was describing with your when creating a mod and where to put your stuff at. There we go. Okay, so let's start a new game. Okay, here we are in the realm of Lorcam. I was working on my hybrid, so she's a Breton female. So now she's a half cat, half person. So let's just go ahead and finish. I'm not going to worry about getting everything installed, like the high poly head right now and stuff. Okay, so while all that stuff is loading up, this is what I was explaining about. I don't know if you're using MCM Recorder or not, But okay, so you're in your MCM menu. Actually, I think I should probably let these things load up before we do anything, because yeah, boxes are going to pop up and all kinds of stuff. It's got to load up its initial stuff here, the game. This doesn't take very long. I guess we can go collect some gold. Get all this stuff dumped at her. I don't need to do this. I'm not going to continue to play this one right now, but just while that thing's loading everything, we'll goof around here. Of course, SOS takes a long time to load up stuff because it's got to do its applying to all the NPCs or whatever it does. I don't know. SOS takes a while to load, but it's already done. Okay, come on here. I'm not going to load all my MCMs or anything by any means. I'm just going to show where we went over that part of the tutorial here. It's almost there. It's got like 3 or 4 more left. That's it. Task must be completed alone. Okay, so when you're in your MCMs and stuff, we were working with Sunhelm. So again, I'm going to have to start this in order to get to the rest of the MCM stuff. Okay, and of course you can see the MCM icons or the Sunhelm icons are all over the place and everything. But that's because I haven't loaded the profile up. But because we were using Sunhelm as an example before. So you're in Sunhelm or in any other mod that's got an MCM that's got things to save. You're doing all this stuff. You're setting your widget placement. You're doing all that. You got your need settings. You know, you're just doing everything in your thing. So you go to your profile and you hit save. Okay, it's not, I'd have to make a new profile and I guess I could try that. What were we calling this? Bubba Gump? was our thing here. Okay, now I created a new profile. All mods are going to have different ways to save, and a lot of them don't even have a way to save. But let's just say, okay, we saved it here. Save that. Okay. Now, any profile, another one that's got a lot of things is like iEquip. It's got a lot of different things that you can, adjust, and then you save your profile, etc. But that's not really what this part of the tutorial about. What this is about is, that now we saved our MCM in game. Now, notice how we have another Sunhelm here. Like I said, everything gets put into your overwrite folder. So we have a Bubba Gump JSON. So what you do is, that's another thing here. This I noticed, maybe not everybody's mod organizer does it, but as soon as you open up your overwrite folder, if you do this and start opening these up like that, you can't drag this out now and drop it. It doesn't seem to want to. That's why I closed this. So, in fact, I also need to, where would I? MCM was 356. Okay. So that's why I had closed that out. Don't open this, otherwise it won't drag. So, I don't know why it does that. It just does. But okay, so that was at 356 on the priority, so we're at 8 something right now. 356. My MCM saves. So right here, you named it whatever you want, but I just named mine my MCM saves or whatever. You just grab this thing and just drop it in there. And now that would clear out your overwrite. And it will be in there. And now that as long as that is checked, you would have, it would be Sunhelm and it would be Bubba Gump or whatever you named it. Or whatever mod you're doing that, saving an MCM and stuff. Another one is MCM Recorder. Right here, it's got a lot of different steps, basically, if you're using MCM. But at any rate, just, that's what you do with mods that, need to have like profile saves or anything like that. You just create, remember that was this up here. You just create an empty mod, name it whatever you want to name it, make sure it's checked, and then things that you from in game that you need to put in there that need to load up for every single game that you start. After you save it in game, you just drag that out and put it in that folder and then make sure it's checked. And now every single time you start a new game, that JSON file for that mod will be there, and you can just hit load in the MCM menu and it'll load up that profile. Again, that was just to demonstrate. I probably didn't do a good job of basically just how everything gets put into your overwrite folder. Everything, like I said before, from your creation kit. If you're making a mod and you run creation kit through mod organizer 2, like right there, and you're creating a mod, all the edits that you do, all the things you make, the folders, the ESP file, everything gets put into your overwrite folder. And then you can just, bundle your mod up from there. Nemesis, body slide, all that stuff goes into your overwrite folder, as long as it's being opened and ran through mod organizer 2. SS edit, X edit and stuff like that, NIF scope, all those things, probably beginners you're not going to be messing around with. But, as long as when you go over here and you configure your executables to open up through mod organizer 2, and then that puts them, it puts them in here, and then you can put them up on here. As long as you're opening the mod through mod organizer 2, everything will get put into your overwrite folder. And then you can just put them wherever they need to go, whether you create here or create here. But, let's just say now we were going to start a new playthrough and stuff. Like if I was going to use the same profile and let's just say the game that we just loaded into, it won't have anything now, but let's just say that, we've been playing it for a week and we have 50 saves in there and stuff, but I don't want to play that profile anymore or that character and stuff. I would just go into temp here. I'd go into saves. I'd empty all those saves out. I don't need them anymore. They're worthless. They're garbage. I would just erase them. And then I would go and I'd erase my body slide files, because I'm going to use new armor on a new playthrough anyways. I'd erase my body slide meshes and I'd erase my Nemesis animation generations. I just erase these two. Doing this one right here will prevent you from getting T-poses by erasing it. That's your cache or whatever. So I'd erase those two. I'd install all them, or I'd activate all the mods and install whatever I'm going to do on that playthrough. I'd sort it either through here or through loot. I would sort it. And after everything's sorted, I'd go ahead and I'd make my body slide meshes. And then I'd take everything out of my body slide or out of overwrite. And I'd again, it's not going to let me because there's nothing in there, but I'd right click there and then I'd put create new mod right here. And then I'd call it that. We did that at the beginning. It's not letting me because there's nothing in overwrite. And then I just drag all those meshes from body slide into there. That clears up here. Then I go to the next step. I do Nemesis, do the step number 1, which is the engine. And then I'd right click here and I'd create Nemesis patch. That's only going to be the engine, because remember, Nemesis can break on special edition version for whatever reason. So keeping those two steps separate. So, create the first step, the engine generation, create your patch. And then I'd open it again. And then I'd do the step number 2, which is check all these things. And then I'd launch the behavior. And if the behavior completes, no problem, then close it out when it's completed. and double click this and drag all those on top of the engine update. If it didn't complete because it borked itself, just again, close that out, erase everything in the overwrite folder. There shouldn't be anything but the borked files anyways, because you put the originals in here. Erase those and then go into Nemesis in your install over here. Nemesis Ultimate Behavior Engine, Nemesis Engine, and it's the Nemesis Ini. You're probably going to have to right click the first time and tell it to open with Notepad, because Windows isn't going to know what to do with an Ini file. But I have mine set already, so I just double click it and just keep increasing their maximum animation limit by 5,000. So if it started at 30, put it to 35,000 and try it again. If it didn't work, put it to 40,000 until it finally works. That's the only thing I've known how to fix it. But the important thing is after you do the first step, the update engine, create this right here by right clicking and create new mod, so that everything that whenever you updated your engine, it's going to put those files in your overwrite, put them in their own mod right there by create new mod. And then there shouldn't be anything in your overwrite, and then reopen this again and then check the patches you need and run this. Because if it borks and gets stuck and doesn't want to do it, then you can just erase your overwrite, because that's only borked files. The good things from the engine update are already in here. So just erase them, add 5,000 to the max animation, and then come back over here and try to run this again. If it doesn't work, go and erase all the borked files again, increase by 5,000, try it again until it finally works. When this finally completes and says animation generation complete or whatever, then close that out, double click this and drag all those files into your Nemesis patch, and you're good to go. After all that, you got your load order sorted, you got your install order sorted, you've got your body slide, your Nemesis, you've got your executable done, and then just launch your game and you're good to go. All right, I think that's probably it. This turned out to be a very, very long, but I wanted to be completely thorough. So again, I hope this is helpful to people that are just starting out in modding for good modding practices and how to get going in Mod Organizer 2. I'm not one to tell people how to, what you have to do or anything, but if you are just starting out, I would highly suggest that you dump Vortex and go with Mod Organizer 2. I am by no means a professional modder or anything like that, but I have been doing it for many years, and I've got a pretty good grasp on modding. And whenever you get more in the community and stuff, you'll find that the absolute pros and stuff when it comes to modding, and the people that are making the most badass mods out there and stuff like that, you will find that well over 90% of them, they all say the same thing. Dump Vortex, dump whatever it is you're using, and use Mod Organizer 2. Because it's the primo prime of mod organizers for Skyrim. It really is. And I guess for Fallout, I think too also. But yeah, just if you're just getting going before you get too invested in Vortex, just dump it. And if you've been using Vortex for a little while and you've got a pretty small load order, take a day or an afternoon, erase everything, start over again, and get to know Mod Organizer 2. I cannot tell you enough how much your mind is going to be blown when you finally start getting a grasp of Mod Organizer 2, just how easy and how awesome it is to fix conflicts, to do everything, and to keep your actual game install directory completely clean so you don't screw things up. Nothing actually gets installed into your game. It's all a virtual, install. So you can't mess anything up in your game. If things aren't working correctly, you come over here and erase this, or you could erase your whole profile or whatever. No matter what you do over here, there is absolutely nothing getting touched in your your game directory here. Now, granted, I have, like I said, I've put a lot of stuff in here that's beyond what comes. Again, the creation kit, because I make mods and stuff. So the creation kit, I need it, and that has to go into your install. You wouldn't use it if you don't need the creation kit. If you're not using an ENB, you still should be using ENB binaries, the ENB series, but you absolutely have to have them if you're using ENB. There's a couple of files that absolutely have to go into here. And then, of course, SKSC's got a couple of files like these right here that absolutely have to go into your game folder. But beyond that, there really isn't anything that ever gets put into here. And just read mod description pages and it'll tell you. And if you can't find it on the mod description page, just YouTube. Excuse me. There's a lot of tutorials on how to install SKSC through Mod Organizer 2. So which files you put in here and which files you make and put into a blank mod in Mod Organizer 2. Again, check out Gamer, Gamer Poets, Poetics, Gamer Poets. He's got some phenomenal tutorials on how to do things with Mod Organizer 2 and Skyrim, on how to set all this stuff up and how to do all that. So that's why I didn't want to get too in depth on how to do SKSC, how to do this, because he's already got it all covered. He's got absolutely amazing tutorials. So yeah, check out Gamer Poets on how to do the little things. This was just, kind of to help somebody out in my comment section and to help anybody else that's just getting started. Mostly what I wanted to go over was good modding practices, just some basic things that you can do to help keep your modding life a little bit simpler. And again, keeping, downloading everything manually and putting everything into folders and stuff, and then just dragging over the zips and putting them in here whenever you install it. It's just good. It's a good modding practice so that you always have a backup of your mods. That way, I've ran into a lot of situations, especially there for a little bit. A lot of people erase their mods off of Nexus because of some stuff that Nexus did. So, this is a good practice to get into. If you're downloading your all your mods manually, I've got a backup of every single mod I've ever downloaded, except for like maybe the first couple of months when I first started, because I wasn't doing this. I was just downloading through the mod manager. But once I went over to Mod Organizer 2 and I started to really get, going on it and stuff, I learned right away to just manually download the zip files, keep everything separated into folders. And now, mod authors, they'll delete their mods off the Nexus or anywhere else you're getting mods. You'll never be able to find that mod again, most likely. But I can, because I got everything I've wanted so far backed up. So unless my hard drives take a crap, and I actually, like I said, I have a separate hard drive just for Skyrim, and then I've got two separate hard drives for all my mods. One is the main one, and then the other is a backup. So even if one of my hard drives takes a crap, I still have all my mods backed up until I can get another one, so that I have all my mods on two different drives. In case one of them craps out on me, I still have all my mods I've ever downloaded. So it doesn't matter if Nexus completely goes offline and Nexus is no more and all those mods are just gone, I still have a copy of all my mods. So that's good modding practice right there, is to keep all your mods backed up. Don't download through the manager, just download manually and then just drag and drop it over here and you have it all backed up here. I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of mods. And this is just my special edition. I have an even bigger one for all my legendary edition mods. So, separate all this stuff how you want. That helps you, categorize it how you like it, but keep it all categorized and safe, basically. How you do it is up to you, what you label it, whether you do it by dates, whether you do it by category and then date, or date then category, or however you want to do it. Just make sure that you have something separate there where you put everything into. But other than that, I think I've covered everything. That should be able to get you going pretty good on how to do, Mod Organizer 2. Believe me, you'll be way happier with Mod Organizer 2 than Vortex. It is just the premier mod manager out there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut that off there. If there's more questions, feel free to ask. And yeah, happy modding.